All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a truly fascinating transformation. For decades, Indonesia has proudly stood as one of the world's absolute biggest coffee producers. But for a really long time, there was this kind of strange irony happening. The very best Indonesian beans were getting celebrated in fancy cafes abroad while being totally ignored right in their own backyard. Well, that narrative, it's changing, and fast. We're going to explore the Indonesian coffee renaissance today, tracing exactly how local coffee has evolved from just a simple bulk commodity into a globally respected, super sought-after culinary heritage.
I want you to stop and think about your morning routine for just a second. Is your coffee literally just a morning wake-up call? For generations, honestly, that was its whole job. A dark, bitter liquid whose sole purpose was to slap you awake and push you out the door. Just a totally functional drink. But man, if you look at what's happening across the Indonesian coffee scene today, you'll see this massive cultural awakening. People are seriously rethinking their daily brew and demanding way more from whatever is sitting in their cup.
It's a massive paradigm shift. Really, it's like night and day. On one side, you've got the old view, treating coffee as just a quick caffeine fix or, jumping on to the latest overly sweet milk coffee trend. But contrast that with the new reality. Local coffee is finally being recognized as this deeply complex cultural product. People are actually valuing the beans for their specific origin, for the total transparency of how they were grown, and for those wildly distinct natural flavor profiles they bring to the table. It's a total shift from just passively consuming a trend to genuinely appreciating a craft.
Section 1. A Tour of Origins.
The sheer, unbelievable diversity mapped out across this archipelago is just wow. Drinking local Indonesian coffee is literally a sensory tour. Take Aceh up north. Gayo coffee there is soft and fragrant, which makes it absolutely perfect for a delicate pour-over or a quick espresso. But then you move down to North Sumatra, and Mandeling offers a totally different vibe. Strong chocolate and spice with this thick body that makes it a total go-to for signature blends. Over in South Sulawesi, Toraja gives us these amazing earthy herbal notes with a uniquely sweet finish, making it highly prized as a premium black coffee. And then there's Kintamani in Bali, which is super fascinating. Since farmers grow the coffee right alongside orange trees, the beans actually take on this fresh, bright citrus flavor that shines beautifully as a filter brew. Moving on, Java gives us that classic light herbal sweetness that's been a staple since the old trading days. Down in East Nusa Tenggara, Flores Bajawa pulls from the volcanic soil to yield these rich, chocolatey, and floral aromas that cafes absolutely love using as a single origin. Looking east to Papua Wamena, their organic processing results in a soft, light profile with gorgeous notes of honey and fruit. And finally, rounding it out, Lintong, also from North Sumatra, delivers this complex, spicy, and fiercely earthy punch that makes for a truly spectacular espresso. I mean, the spectrum of flavor here is just incredible.
Section 2. The Art of Processing.
Now, the absolutely crucial point here is that this flavor revolution, it's being driven entirely by the farmers themselves. They are actively mastering agricultural science and seriously elevating their post-harvest techniques. We aren't just talking about, picking some cherries and leaving them out in the sun to dry anymore. Well, farmers are utilizing incredibly advanced, highly technical methods, things like the honey process, the natural process, and even anaerobic fermentation. These techniques are meticulously controlled to coax out very specific flavor notes, bring out natural sweetness, or dial up the acidity. By adopting these cutting-edge methods, Indonesian farmers are proving they can innovate and compete on a massive global scale, all without losing their agricultural roots.
Section 3. The Farm-to-Cup Connection.
As the quality of the coffee itself has skyrocketed, the sophistication of the consumer has leveled up right alongside it. People are basically bypassing those massive commercial chains now. Instead, they're actively hunting down small local roasters or even just buying directly from the farmer communities themselves. They want to experience those authentic, untouched origin flavors we were just talking about. Plus, they're bringing the whole cafe experience right into their kitchens. Consumers are increasingly brewing at home using manual methods, like the V60, the AeroPress, or a trusty French press. Why? Because it lets them control the extraction and really get to know the beans. And get this, they are demanding absolute transparency. They don't just want a bag that vaguely says coffee anymore. They want to check the packaging and see the exact altitude of the farm, the specific coffee variety, and the processing method used. Today's consumer is educated, deeply curious, and truly invested in the product.
And the ultimate result of all this transparency is pretty powerful. Let me share this quote with you. The transparency of the process makes the public trust and appreciate the work of farmers more, giving local coffee an emotional value, not just a taste value. Honestly, that is profound. By putting the farm's intimate details right there on the bag, a real emotional bridge gets built. It transforms coffee from a simple transactional commodity into a living relationship of trust and respect. It connects the person enjoying the cup directly to the farmer who dedicated their livelihood to growing it. And this emotional connection, it's creating a very real, tangible economic ripple effect, especially out in rural areas. We are now seeing the explosion of educational coffee tourism. As demand shoots up, farmers' incomes rise, and a ton of coffee villages are seizing the moment by opening their doors to the public. And these visitors aren't just showing up to take a quick selfie for social media. They're getting their hands dirty. It's a completely immersive, hands-on process. First, you've got harvesting, where visitors actually hike into the gardens and pick the coffee cherries directly from the branch. Second, there's roasting, where they learn the simple, traditional ways to roast those very beans. And finally, cupping, participating in guided tasting sessions to train their palates to spot those specific regional notes we discussed earlier. They arrive as tourists, sure, but they leave as passionate, educated ambassadors for local coffee culture.
Section 4. The Road Ahead. Now, to maintain this incredible momentum and make sure Indonesian coffee stays highly competitive internationally, there are a few critical hurdles we've got to address. First up is maintaining consistency, both in the sheer volume of coffee produced and in keeping that quality sky high. That's a constant challenge because, well, weather, soil conditions, and resources are always fluctuating. Because of that, we absolutely need to expand farmer access to modern agricultural technology to help them manage those wildcards. And that goes hand in hand with providing ongoing training and education, so farmers can keep refining those advanced post-harvest techniques. Look, none of this happens in a vacuum. It requires continuous government support, serious investment, and deep ongoing collaboration across the entire coffee community. But if all these pieces lock into place, the potential is literally limitless.
So I want to leave you with one final thought. We've seen exactly how coffee in Indonesia has transformed from just a bitter wake-up call into this rich, complex culinary heritage, all driven by passionate farmers and engaged, curious consumers. So, when you brew your next cup of single-origin local coffee, what role will you play in the future of these farmers on the global stage? Remember, every single cup you choose to learn about, appreciate, and support is an active participation in this ongoing, incredible cultural journey. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, I hope you enjoy your next cup with a whole new perspective.